All right, thanks for joining, everyone. This is going to be an interesting session. I noticed some stuff with Bitcoin and I wanted to share it. So if anyone has trouble seeing the screen or hearing me, just let me know and I'll try to fix it up. So I'm recording now, and I wanted to talk about something really interesting with Bitcoin that I found on high time frames. So you guys know about opposing levels, but I noticed on the 2-month and on the 3-month there's an opposing level coming up, especially on the 2-month chart. And turn on my aircon. The 2-month here has this opposing level, and so this could potentially be a bounce area, and there's some confluence with the last all-time high. For as much as I thought Bitcoin might go down to 40K, I've seen some really interesting stuff here. See, I think it was, yeah, no, that's a monthly. You know what, let me just turn all these on. And so on the 2-month, there's like a level right here that it's tapped, and it's wicked up from it. And when you look at it on the 3-month, it's up here at 71.4, which is also another monthly level. So sorry, these are a mess right now. Let me just turn these off, and I try to get, there we go, these are the ones I want. So the 3-month one here is 71.4K, and that's a pretty strong level. Now last time there was a dip, it didn't come all the way back down to it. It came down and stopped before getting to it. And I noticed this because I was looking at the monthly, and on the monthly I noticed these 3 red candles here, and let me turn off my alerts real quick. All of a sudden they're making some noise. So I noticed these 3 red candles, and whenever I see that, you can usually go to a higher time frame, and then these candles will become one. And so I started looking at the 2-month, and there was still 2 red candles here. And then the 3-month, it was 1. So that's why I think this is really significant as an opposing level. There's a lot to say about this on different time frames, but really some of the key ones that I want to show you is the weekly. And it's really interesting here because you've had this continuation pattern. Bitcoin has been going up for quite a while. I mean, this money flow has been green for a long time, and the really interesting thing here is that the RSI hasn't gotten down this far since, you know, right before the end of the bear market, of, you know, the last bear market. And let's get this thing out of the way. The RSI hasn't been this low since 2022, and this is significantly low. You know, it's come down like 52%, and you know, this is like how far it went down over here, similar, like a very similar amount. See, right about there, 54. And you know, the date range isn't that much of a difference here, but look at when it came down here, the RSI didn't go that low, but this time it's very low. So it's really oversold. And I mean, yeah, it could continue. It could do something like this after it comes down, kind of start inching down a little more like this, where it hit low like area here, like 26, which now it's at like 28, 27 or 28. So it's in a really similar spot as it was before, but then after that, it started putting in bull dips while it still went down just a little more for some weeks. You know, it takes time for this to happen, but when you look at it this way, and you guys know that I look at hidden bull divs, you know, there's always some sort of divergence somewhere. Whenever there's a big hump or big move on the RSI, there's some sort of divergence forming, whether it's on the RSI or on the money flow. And so this would have been a hidden bull, like around here, really even here. And it would have continued to be a hidden bull unless the price went below this and made a new low here, which it didn't. So it's in a state of a hidden bull now on the weekly, but oftentimes a hidden bull turns into a regular before the reversal. And so I think this is a really interesting spot. I mean, there's a lot of confluence, some Fibonacci levels here at 40K. There's, you know, reason for it to go down here, but there's more hidden bull divs on the weekly now because they were on the daily, they didn't play out, and then they were on the 3-day and they didn't play out, and they've just kind of pushed into the weekly now, and that's it's going to be hard to invalidate these. So if you looked at it like this, you would have it like around here, you know, wherever the candle body stops, and if you took that from that low, that'd be like really, well, it's kind of crossing that. So that's really low, even if you pulled it from here on this low on the RSI. So let's do that because that's the way you're supposed to do it. Somewhere around there. There's a major hidden bull div on the weekly. And you've had a big wick on this previous candle a couple weeks ago. And the downward momentum seems to be slowing down. And you have this flip zone here. Like I said, this is a 3-month opposing level. It's not that far away, and there's some low time frame signals to make me think it's possible that it could potentially get above 71.4. And if it gets above that and holds, well, that would potentially mean that the hidden bull dip might start playing out if this RSI starts climbing, making this the low for a while. So I'm not saying we're going to get a pump, but I'm really starting to wonder. And I was, as soon as we lost 108K, you guys know in the channel, I was thinking it was the bear market, but we went down for a while, and you know, there have been 5 months of red candles, of red monthly candles. So who's to say that you know, we're going to get another one? This one will close because the month is almost over, and we would have had that. But it's not very often that you get 5 red candles on Bitcoin on the monthly. And this here, which you can barely see it because it doesn't load everything, is that pattern. The money flow was high, and then when there were shark fins, it's forming a shark fin, a bullish shark fin in green money flow right now. If it goes over 71.4K and say in a month or two closes that shark fin at that 50, that is a key area for the RSI. I know this sounds weird because some of you guys have seen me show this pattern in other videos, like on the 15-minute time frame, and you see what happens when this pattern's present and that there's a bullish shark fin in green money flow at the 50 line, which is, you know, the price is fractal, so we can look at some other stuff and I'll show you what happens. But this is on a monthly time frame that it's showing this. So even though, you know, there have been some bear dips and a lot of it's played out, there are some bull divs too on the weekly and other time frames. So keep this in mind, 71.4K. If Bitcoin gets above that and holds above that, that could complete this continuation pattern of going up, because this is that bullish shark fin at the 50 line with the pattern. So when you look at other things, look at something that's pumped before. Just kind of looking. It could be anything. When you see, let's see, how about this one? It's not a good example. Here's one. A couple of them. So when you've got a pump and green money flow, a bullish shark fin in green money flow that doesn't turn red, and then that bullish shark fin closes right around the 50 line. That's what it did here. So here was a little shark fin, bullish, and then when it got above this time and held, I mean, it had to move up. But what it's saying here, and this isn't the best example, there are better ones, but the move isn't over. It's still trending. And these bullish shark fins in green money flow tend to be good. And so when you think about that, that's on the monthly time frame that it has that potential to do that. If this 3-month opposing level holds. And once again, I'm just saying this for Warrior, whoever joined late, and whoever's listening to the recording. The weekly here is, well, it's got that hidden bull div, and that hidden bull div cannot be invalidated unless Bitcoin goes way down here, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I mean, because the RSI is so low, it hasn't been that low since 2022. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that this can do the sine wave thing that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit with Siren. So there's something that happened here, and it got me into back testing while this was in green money flow, and this wackiness happened here, but there was something that I learned from it. I can kind of touch on it now, but I'll talk more about it later. But you'll notice if you start looking at TDIX, you'll see times of either low liquidity or low volatility. The RSI is hovering around a certain area, or kind of hanging around the middle band, but not really going up and down much. Sometimes almost running parallel with it for a while, but then at other times it's the complete opposite. And you have this really high RSI and then a drop, and you have this cross kind of like, it's not traveling together, it's not parallel to it, it's going opposite. And you have that often. I've noticed from backtesting now that you have massive moves that occur when this happens, and particularly with, you know, bullish moves, like if you get a shark fin while the money flow is so green, so thick, and the shark fin is low, because normally you have a pretty decent move. This isn't a good example, but this would be more normal, because these numbers on this area here were massive. But when you look at something like this, would be normal, okay? And you had like green money flow, bullish shark fin, crossover. I mean, even if you looked at this, it doesn't look like much on the chart, but right here's your crossover. If you measured it somewhere around here, you still had like 8% in 1 hour. So watch for these shark fins close to the 50 line. But if the money flow is thick and then the shark fin gets really low, usually it pulls the money flow into the red. But if it doesn't, if it can't, and the money flow stays green, by the time that next crossover happens, that is what I'm talking about. That's the new thing that I've noticed with TDIX. I just call it the sine wave pattern, because the RSI just gets so wacky, going up and down, so volatile, that it's not at all parallel. Like here, it's kind of parallel with the money flow middle band. But this, you can catch some massive moves on these kind of situations. If you watch for them, or start back testing, you'll see that it tends to have big moves, and you can tell when you see these sharp drops, often by a bunch of selling, and it kind of slingshots back. So I don't know if you've heard this before, but people have said that when there's a fast move, a really big move that happened really fast, it's often a fake move. A move like, here we go, this is more organic looking. I see this pattern too, where price is just gradually going up. It has its little pumps, but it still keeps going up. But it's different from something like this. It just blasts off and comes back down, or goes up pretty high here, came down, and then just did a slingshot. So watch for this when it's way out of whack like this. Something's going on, and it could cause even more volatility, to get a lot of eyes on it. It might give you something to trade, despite how there's a lot of the markets have less volume to trade right now. A lot of the retail people are out. They think the bull run's over. They're not traders, so they don't care. They're just going to go do something else until the bull run starts again. But for us as traders, we're trading through this bear market, and we're building, we're getting smarter, we're making money through the bear market. So you keep watch when you see all of a sudden, here's a good example of that. See how the RSI is kind of running around the middle band, this green money flow, and it's going up gradually. This is a normal move, and then it came down, but then the drop on the RSI was big, and then it kind of it had this shark fin, which was actually below the 50, while the money flow stayed green and didn't turn red. And then when it came up and crossed, like right here, when it finally crossed right there at that line, right around here, like it just was even a late entry, whatever, it's still a big move. That's a big move in less than 2 hours, 1 hour and 45 minutes. But you see that. So if you've heard how if you had something like your Bollinger Bands, when they're wide, when they're contracted, it's not very volatile, and then when they're when they're wide, they're volatile, and when they're narrow, they're not volatile. They're contracted, preparing for that. So the Bollinger Bands go from narrow to wide over and over. Everything moves in waves. There may be times of big moves to small moves, contraction to expansion, or trends. So it's another good way to see where the area is here, where we're more narrow on the Bollinger Bands, and it's like coiling up, getting ready for a bigger move. And then you have the expansion of the Bollinger Bands, and then at around that time of the expansion, you get this sharp move against it. Like here's a perfect one. When you see bullish shark fins at that 50 line in green money flow, and you start seeing this where the RSI is just going really fast compared to the money flow. And I think of it as like a sine wave, and it's more parallel in this area. So when the markets aren't doing much, it's not ready to trade, but if you keep watching, eventually these Bollinger Bands will expand, and you'll start getting this kind of like a sine wave type action. If you've seen a sine wave, they use it in electrical equipment, they use it in sound and all sorts of stuff. I don't know much about it, but it looked similar, so I called it the sine wave. But yeah, watch out for that, because when it's parallel or hanging around, getting narrow on the Bollinger Bands, it's getting ready for the move like this. And then you have something probably happened here. Well, it got big, like here is kind of where it happened. Sometimes it does that and snaps back, and then, but this one kind of went narrow again almost, and then it did it. But this was the real example that I wanted to show, because I've seen this elsewhere, I can't remember where, and it just caused a chain reaction. You know, this might have been the move at first when people seen this pump here and then the drop, that might have got so much attention, but it happened so fast that the money flow didn't have time to go red. Normally the price would pull it down, or the RSI would pull it down into the red, but because it didn't, it had the signs of being a false move, some sort of manipulation or something like that. A shakeout, perhaps. There's probably a key level around here. I'm not going to look for it. That wasn't what I was wanting to go over this. But I wanted to show you this. When you see this pattern, this wacky RSI just going crazy, and the expanded Bollinger Bands after narrow Bollinger Bands. So watch out for that, because you can kind of predict it when those Bollinger Bands get narrow, and then you get the slingshot. And of course, if it's green money flow, you're looking for a bullish shark fin, especially around the 50. But if it's really low like that, that was an amazing move. Like, I don't know if you guys measured that. I didn't think I measured this here. I mean, normally I would enter like up here, like somewhere up here. But with something like this, I would be tempted to enter early, because of how, now that I know this, now that I've seen this and studied it a little bit. But to be safe, I would have probably entered around here, like after a confirmation. So around here, I would have probably looked for some key levels. But I mean, when you see this massive RSI move like that, you never know. You might catch a massive move. So watch out for that. I wanted to share that. How's it going, Alan? Sorry, I just talked about that stuff as you joined late. But this is recording. I'm going to switch on my Meld Studio real quick on the other. It looks like it's recording without any errors so far. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll record and I can put this on the YouTube channel and you'll see what I just talked about. I do plan, by the way, guys, I plan to refine this thing that I just showed here and kind of perfect it. I'll often do this where I'll as soon as I discover something, from back testing, I like to share it, and it just so happens that I'm doing a live session like every week, and then I end up talking about it. And in the session, I don't hit everything, but after a while of thinking about it, looking at it, trying to use it as confluence to trade, then I refine it and come out with a video for my YouTube channel, and then it's easy to understand, it's more to the point, and it's more clear when I have time to record it. But when I do it on the live session, you know, it's there's no pause button. There's none of that. So it's going to be better quality on a video recording. But this is what I'm going to go over for a while. Cool, Alan. I'm glad you could join. Glad you're off work now, and that's great. Good to see you. Good to see all of you guys, by the way. Shu and Wise Guy and Pabs Warrior. Thanks for joining, guys. So I went over Bitcoin, and I've looked at the sine wave pattern that I was talking about, and I wanted to look at this. I've mentioned this a couple times now. This is C98, and I mentioned this a little bit in my channel. Like if you look at my channel in the chat channels, you notice this too. This is something else I wanted to mention. Let me get a sip of water. I wanted to say this. I learned this from somewhere on YouTube. I can't remember, but it seems to be legit. When you see something, you know, like trending with just small candles, the moves aren't very big, and then all of a sudden you get this massive volatility. You know, on a high time frame, this might look different, or on a different time frame. But you see this, how it's just kind of small candles, not much going on, you know, and then all of a sudden, bammo, Something's going on. So I did a long on this. It was good. I'm looking to enter another long on this potentially, and here's why: because it's showing the pattern again, and I think this thing could blast off quite a bit more. It's my opinion. Don't take this as financial advice, but right now this is a 4-hour chart. This is the pattern of green money flow for a continuation, a possible continuation. It's had the bullish shark fin, and it's getting ready to cross above the middle band here, the money flow. So it might not. You never enter if it doesn't, because it could reject here. You'll often have that. Like here's an example. See, when you see this right here, instead of getting over it, it came back down. So always wait for a confirmation. You're better off entering one candle late. And, you know, if it works, there'll be a move. Like this here, excuse me, this bullish shark fin, and then the crossover. So that's when this one started to play out. And there's almost always a flip zone there on some time frame. Check that for flip zones around the time of the crossover. That's something else I wanted to say in a future video. But so you had this, but you don't enter on the shark fin. You wait until this crossover right here. In this case, if you would have did it the candle late, it would have came down quite a bit. But you don't always enter. Well, sorry, this is the 4-hour time frame. You don't enter on the 4-hour with this. But what you do is you draw your line on the 4-hour, because you had the pattern, the shark fin, the crossover. So right here, once there was a confirm, we'll make sure it's a confirmed click that it was above. And we'll even say here. And then from there, you go to the 15-minute. And that's where you do it again. And that's where you enter. So the 15-minute would have said, nope, don't enter here. Well, this one, it tried to like cross, but it came right back down. And so with something like that, this little spot here, because it had the shark fin, here's the cross, it was a quickie get out kind of situation, because as soon as you see something that goes to cross over but doesn't hold, you know it's invalidated. But it's the other way. Like when you see this pattern, and especially when it's been in that money flow for a while, that's according to that strategy I've been talking about on my YouTube channel, which works great for continuation trades. In this case, you had green money flow, then you had a nice looking shark fin, and then a crossover. So, you know, 15-minute time frame is pretty good. So right here, you could have entered along on this candle and caught, you know, 3.42% in 15 to 30 minutes or something like that. You know, it's not super, but you can get these like whenever you see this pattern. And here's another one. This one turned out a lot better. A lot better, because there's probably a flip zone here. If you change the time frame and look, it'll be more obvious. I haven't looked at this area yet. I did trade this before, and I forget. I think I deleted all my stuff. I clean my charts sometimes. But it was previously. It was a while ago when I went long on it. I think Alan remembered. But I did go long on this. And this here, like, that was 5% in an hour and 30 minutes. That's excellent. And so with the strategy, you know, if you entered after on the crossover after a shark fin, and then you see it come down, you can often exit when this happens. But if you waited a little bit, because, you know, I don't know if you would have took profit anywhere before, you could have. If you would have somehow waited and then it crossed back up again, there was a big move there. I forget where I went. I think I went long way over here somewhere. Can't remember. And it worked out good. Wait, no, it was over here. There was the pattern over here somewhere. Yeah, I saw it. And then I seen it. I think maybe it was over here. It wasn't even huge, but I had a win. I deleted my chart stuff. So yeah, I'm looking at this one because, you know, the high time frame, this volatility that came out of nowhere, the high time frame's got the pattern. Keep watch on the C98, especially in the next half hour to 4 hours and a half, because you want to wait for one more 4-hour candle. And it's this crossover, if it holds, if the RSI gets above here and holds, there's potential for continuation up. And I haven't even looked at this yet, but I'm sure there's something here because there's a lot of wicks. Whenever you see a big wick, you know there's a key level here. So I haven't even looked, but there's definitely something going on here. And sometimes you see big candles right on the key levels. So I would say somewhere around here, because there's another big wick. Yeah, that's it. That's got to be it. Because like this one, it's tapped it here and then had a big candle going through it. Oftentimes that's how key levels get broken, with a big candle. When they'll often tap it and wick on it, and then when they cross it, they'll have a big candle, volatile candle. Right here, it dropped below it, and then it pumped through it. Came over here, a lot of indecision with this doji, but it went down. And then look here, you know, you've got wick, rejection, you know, wicking. This looks like it's about to become a flip zone. On the daily, it's easier to see the wicks. But on the 4-hour, you know, you see the volatilities come in, something's going on. You got the bullish pattern. Crossover soon. So give it 4 hours, 4.5 hours. If price comes up on here, you know, if it comes something like this, on, you know, like on the 15-minute time frame, it'll probably go through with a nice looking candle. And you'll think, oh, I missed the move, I should have went long. No, don't long into resistance. But here we go. On the 15, it's already in the, let's just get rid of this. On the 15, it's already in the green money flow, but it doesn't have the criteria yet. It needs to have a bullish shark fin. So this money flow might come down a little bit. It might come, who knows? It might stay high, who knows? And then like what you want to see is the Bollinger Band be somewhere around here, the bottom one, so that's blue. And then you want to see, you know, the RSI come down and create a shark fin, and then cross the the middle band. So this will probably, I bet you this will come down when it does that. It usually does. And it usually gets close to the 50 oftentimes. So it's not a very good line of what the money flow might look like, but you know, maybe if we stretch it out, it'll look like it. But yeah, so wait for your shark fin and then your crossover at the flip. You'll probably see a hidden bull when that happens. Something, of course it wouldn't have happened yet, but I would say you would get something like this. Not saying it's going to happen, but let's just move this guy over here somewhere. It could happen. And so watch for that, because you often get a hidden divergence, because a hidden divergence is like a continuation divergence. So the more this comes down, as long as these lows not broken, that would be your invalidation area. And if it's not that one, it could be the next one. So that would be, you know, if price came down here, invalidated. But if it gets above this flip zone with a hidden bull, cross, right there is where I would enter, or very close to it. So I'm not trying to give you a trade setup, because I don't want you to, you know, take trades because somebody says so. But, you know, that's one of the tokens I'm watching right now for an entry. You know, and let's say it came down further and came like that or something. It could be like this and still have, you know, it could still have a hidden bull unless one of these lows gets broken. So remember, these hidden bulls are sweet because they stay valid until one of these lows gets broken, and you are in an uptrend on the 4-hour time frame. Let's get all this junk here. So what I would say, watch for it. Now, guys, I don't know everything, but I'm sharing that with you because I'm watching it. This could just reject. It could just be like, you know, dump straight to hell. You know, who knows? But if it turns into support, and then Bitcoin does something, you know, what's Bitcoin doing? You know, Bitcoin's RSI is climbing. It could get above this. Who knows? Hide that thing. I don't want that. Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Alan. I'll take a look at it here soon. So, oftentimes when I see this sideways action, I'll just draw a little fixed range volume profile. And this one looks pretty sweet too. Let's kind of magnify it a little bit for you all. When I look back on something and I see some sideways action for a while, I pull this tool here, fixed range volume profile. It's over here in this menu right here. And so if you pull it in the area that it looks like it's ranging, you get your value area high, your value area low, and your point of control. The point of control is where the most volume is. And so you start seeing these reactions, meaning you could potentially look for longs at the bottom line and shorts at the top, but then you will have deviations. And once it breaks back into the range, you know, it's back in, and, you know, until eventually it breaks out of the top or bottom. But as long as you long at or below the value area low and short at or above the value area high, you're good. Even though, you know, because you would have a quick invalidation. If you wanted to go long here and then instead it went down, you would invalidate. It would invalidate quick, and you'd be like, okay, I'm out. But you look for it. You don't just take the trade blindly. You go down to your other time frames. But I'm watching this area on Bitcoin, because if it breaks above this volume area range, 71.4K is not far away. And that's that 3-month flip zone, that 3-month opposing level. And like I showed, the RSI on Bitcoin on the weekly has not been this low since 2022. So there's a chance it could bounce. I'm not saying it will. Anyway, okay, I'm going to look at your screen. Thank you, Alan. I'm just going to kind of compare it to 15-minute. My internet's a little slow all of a sudden. It looks so different on yours. Is on the 15-minute, but it looks a little. Oh, okay, you're zoomed way in. That's why. Nice. Okay, I see what you're doing. You point. Hey, Alan, you pointed a little red arrow at. What are you showing there? 1 hour. Okay, supply resistance. Oh yeah. Very good. So on the 1 hour, Yeah, you're looking at SMCX. Looks a little different on mine for some reason. Oh, okay, you're just still so zoomed in. That's why. I see. It went a little bit. Yours looks different, probably because it's on Binance and I'm on, Bybit. Not sure why it would make that much of a difference, but yeah, I see this area. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Okay, blowfin chart. So yeah, guys, I've talked about most of what I wanted to talk about. But we're about 42 minutes into the stream. There's plenty of time. I hit the topics I wanted to talk about. The other stuff, I'm just going to be watching my alerts later, looking for little scalp trades and stuff. But because Bitcoin's in this area, I'm going to wait a little bit. It's kind of weird here. Oh, I did want to mention that too. It's this. I want to show you something on TrendX. Okay, everything on good. Okay, this is interesting with what's going on with Bitcoin and TrendX right now. I was looking at it. Oh, it's loading so slow. Can you run through the process of finding coins and setting alerts? Sure, I could. All right, Shu, have a good one. Yeah, I think. Okay, there we go. My internet was lagging out. My network connection may be causing decreased. Is the video quality looking bad to you guys? Because all of a sudden my internet kind of pooped out. It seems to be okay now, but the recording should be okay. Okay. Oh, good. It looks good. Okay. Well, I want to say one more thing before we move on and talk about that, Pabs. Turn on my air conditioner. It's hot in here. So right now, Bitcoin's at a somewhat narrow weekly. Oh, that was... Yeah, that's... For the 15-minute time frame, it looks big, but this is the new weekly. It's somewhat narrow, and, it's playing around at it. It's below it, though, right now, but it's showing a candle like it wants to get above it. So right now, Bitcoin's kind of deciding what it's going to do with this weekly pivot, and it's below the daily narrow too. So something's going on, and I'm waiting. There is green money flow. There's a bullish shark fin. It could have a crossover. This could be it. It could cross this and get enough momentum to cross this daily narrow, where see how it just keeps really trying to... It tried to bounce right here. Like I saw this earlier. I was out and about, running around town, driving around, and I looked at my phone and I saw this candle bounce right on this weekly, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss it. I'm not at home. I'm not at my computer." And I was like, I had a feeling I was gonna miss it, but I'll catch some continuation trades. But no, it hasn't decided yet. These would be dojis or indecision candles on higher time frames, but on this, you see the price playing around a lot at this level, like it's contracting on a higher time frame or something. And although it had a bounce here, and then it just fell right back through. So I'm like, oh, when I came home and I looked at it and all this happened, and I was like, oh great, I didn't miss the move yet, but I'm watching this thing. And this level here, I mean, I'm telling you, if the price gets above here, and it's come down for a while, and the RSI is really low on high time frame. Whoops. maybe, just maybe, if it can get up, somehow get above 71.4. Watch that. That's the level. If it can get above there and hold as support, we may have a move up, a big move. This might be a bottom. It might not hit 40K. I don't know, but that RSI on the weekly is crazy low, and that, you know, that's pretty crazy. All right, so Pabs wanted to run through my process of finding coins and setting alerts. Sure. I do things a little different. I've just come to accepting the fact that I'm not an SMCX trader. I've tried it. It's just TDIX is my gig, and that's what I like. So you can use EAX. If you're using SMCX, try to learn EAX. If you have questions, I'm sure you can send Mowgli a friend request and ask him, and he's a very nice person. He will help you and show you things that you might not notice or hear or fully understand in some of his live streams and his recordings. But I've talked to him personally, and when I talked to Mowgli, if I was ever going to learn to do SMCX like he does, he would be able to teach me, and he has explained some things to me. I wrote it down and took notes, but I'm still like a TDIX guy, and it's just how I am. So my process is different. You know, honestly, I don't really care whatever it is that I trade. I'm looking for patterns. I trade continuations. I prefer going long. That's me. I will use EAX. So let me show you. And something else. Let me 1 second here. Ryan, I use a Ryan terminal too. I look for volatility. I use the volatility scanner in the channel as well. So like I'm getting ready to share my web browser. What is going on? Like my okay. All right, so like I was saying, if you're using SMCX, I know it's hard for some people. Sometimes it's hard to learn because there's a lot going on here. But there are certain things you want to watch for. The RSI, the 1 hour RSI, this one says it's 78. You know, if you're looking for a short, or maybe really low, you know, like a 14, that's a really low RSI. It makes me want to look at that one for the 1 hour time frame. So the really, is it not sharing it? I'm gonna try it again. Okay, can you see my screen? Can you see EAX? No, it was working. Okay, what about now? Maybe it's just taking time because of my internet. It's possible. Sometimes it just loads slow. Okay, yeah, it's just loading slow. That's what it is. So we'll just have to wait for it to load is what it is. And I'll just go slow before I start talking. Make sure you guys can see it before I talk. The important things that I've learned from Mowgli is one of them is looking at the RSI. One of the, you know, it's really key to look and see what the RSI is. You know, there are certain levels that it gets to on the 1 hour time frame before it's getting ready to reverse. Whether it's you're getting ready for a short at a trend X level with high RSI, or, you know, a long, or you're starting to look for a long at some really low RSI. So I do use EAX sometimes, but I use it differently. I like to trade continuations. So I'm looking for something that's got momentum, that's had a lot of percentage gain or percentage loss if I'm looking for a short, and usually I'm looking for longs. It's just how I trade. Okay, I'll invite you here soon, Alan. I'm going to just finish answering Pab's question. So this is EAX, and I think Alan's probably going to want to talk about it too. But another thing I use, and I've mentioned this a few times on my sessions, I like Orion Terminal a lot, and this one's become my favorite. EAX, I don't use SMCX as much, but I want to see some other things added to EAX to get me this data that I get from Orion Terminal. EAX is great, but yeah, Crisp uses Orion Terminal as well, but I do it in my own way. And what I do is I hit these 3 dotted lines here, and I select certain things that I want, because I only want certain things. Anything else is just in the way. And I will show the volume on one day, the change percent on one day, open interest one day, and volatility, which I usually don't even use anymore. Which with all this other data, I don't even need the volatility anymore. So I'm just going to delete that now. Boom, gone. So this three lines here lets you change the columns. And this is what I look at. I want something that's moving. I know how to trade, so I want something that's moving. I don't want to trade something that's sitting still. So I go to volume and I click it, and I'm looking to see the highest trading volume at the top. Bitcoin and ETH should be at the top. But then, as it's sorted in that way, I go down, I do a quick scan, and I see something. It's something out of the ordinary. These are the big hitters normally at the top. All of a sudden, this one in it it's been up here with high volume. There might be something worth trading on this, so I add that to my chart. Whenever I see something out of place, like a new coin listed way up here in high volume, I add it to my trading list, watch list. And another quick way to see it is something like space. The change percent is high, and the open interest is another one. Like this one just started getting big today, so I added it to my watch list today, RPL. And I looked at it and I'm like, this one I've never seen on this watch list, because when you sort it by volume, if any of these new coins appear, something different, it's not Doge, it's not Bitcoin, ETH, or Sol, all of a sudden today, something new, RPL, 53% change percent, and the open interest is up almost 700%. So when I use Orion Terminal, I can see the open interest change. And when I'm looking through here, I'm like, okay, these ones, the open interest isn't changed, but this one is, people are really interested in that. It's going to have some trading volume. It's going to have some moves that I can exploit with TDIX. So this is how I find coins. And then I add them to my list, and I leave them on my list. So you'll see that on my watch list if I show you on TradingView, because I already went through this. I do this every day. I go to Orion Terminal, and then I sort it by volume on the daily. And really, one of the things I'm looking for most is, let's just say open interest is more important. And so Orca has had a lot of open interest increase. So when I see open interest increase a lot, I'm adding that thing to my watch list if it's not already on there. So that's how I do it. That's how I find stuff now, which I did something like this before, and then I stopped, and then I used EAX, but my trading style is different. EAX is great for reversals, but I'm not really a reversal trader. I'm a continuation trader. I like to get into a continuation trade right after the reversal, but I want to see that continuation. I want to see open interest up. I want to see some movement, some high gains, high loss, generally high gains, because like I said, I favor longs. OGN's got the open interest increasing. So like I scroll down through here, and like when I see this, I'm like, I might have to add prom to my list because I don't think I have it on there. So when I start to see this happening, I catch it before it hits some crazy number, and I check this often. I sort it by volume, but then I look at open interest because I want to see something with trading volume, something that everybody's eyes are looking at. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing. I hope that helped. Give me a second, Alan. And yes, exactly. It's something with a big change in open interest. But you don't want to sort it by open interest. Sort it by volume because you have to have the volume too. Because there's a lot of things that don't have crap for trading volume, and you're trying to trade these little tiny moves, and you're just going to get chopped out. You know? But when there's volume, there's movement. No, I don't set alerts through. Oh, yeah. I set them through my trading view. But what was that one? I was just looking at one. I'm just going to go back to it real quick. RPL. There was one that was. I'm going to go back to my window. Prom. Okay. So prom, you are now on my list, but I'm going to put it on my alts. Because, see, that's my bit-funded list, and I keep a special tab just for bit-funded. And then I have another tab for alts, and this list is massive. And if it's not on there, and it's got open interest coming up, it's on there now. So now I got a lot of things on here that weren't on there, and I often add and remove things depending on what's going on. Then once I have this, look at how long this list I have is. That's probably why my internet craps out. But I look at this, and then furthermore I sort. Right now Orca's just getting it, and it's got that sine wave. Wow, this thing looks like it's going up a little bit right now because it's had a crossover. Anyway, it didn't have the shark fin. So jelly is up. So once I do that, once I add these coins that I found on Orion Terminal, because I sorted by volume, but I noticed the open interest, then I put it on my trading view alert list. I sort it. Sometimes I just look around. Other times I'm like, okay, I got my alerts set, and you were right, Pabs. I set alerts on the shark fin. This is my, I do the 15-minute for entry. So I set my alert for TDIX. And then I do bullish shark fin because I like to look for longs, and the 15-minute. So once I have that, and that gives me an alert. And then what happens is, as soon as I get the alert, it's loading. As soon as that happens, I got this whole list of alerts. Say some of these were a while ago, so I can click some of these, I'll just delete. But here's one right here. It was earlier today, but it's still been hanging down. Look at this. It's in green money flow. You got a bullish shark fin near the 50, but it hasn't closed. So you don't enter here. It's consolidating or something. It's anyway, you know that you don't enter until this RSI crosses here. But that's how I do it, Pabs. I hope that helped. So you see where I got my what I look for tokens, and then how I put them on my list. Oh, and by the way, once I don't know if you have this, but I do. I go to add alert on the list, and my alert is so easy. I can just say I add a watch list alert, and then I get a crap load of alerts all day, every day. But another thing I want to say, what I do is, because I get a crap load of alerts, I will turn it on when I'm ready to trade. When I'm looking for a trade, I turn this on, and there's going to be a lot of ones. Alerts will go off on a shark fin, but it doesn't have the pattern. So like this one, this RPL right now, well, this one has the pattern. It's in green money flow and a bullish shark fin. I would be waiting for a crossover, But let's say this one here or some other one. See this one, it had a shark fin earlier today or something. Or maybe it did and then it canceled. But it doesn't have the pattern. I want, as soon as the alert goes off for a shark fin, let's say it went off here, I'll be like, okay, and imagine this didn't happen, but here was the shark fin. Is the pattern present? Yes. Now I wait for crossover. But not only that, I check the 4 hour. So I could do that like this and do it all at once. And see, oh wow. Oh, this has to be sorted with symbol. There we go. And I wanted to do that. Okay, so now this doesn't have it on the 4 hour, but if I scroll through and I see, you know, the pattern, this one does not have the pattern. So I just exit. I delete that one. And I just keep going through and I just get so many alerts. Like this one here has it on the 15-minute. It's right there, looking good. But the 4 hour is very bearish. So I would not long this. Do you see? Because the 4 hours got the bearish pattern of red money flow with the bearish shark fin. So when that closes, if it blasts, it could blast off, but it's unlikely, or it's a lot less likely. This 15-minute, you know, it doesn't have the full lineup like C98. Let's just pull it up just to show, and you'll see what I'm showing. See, on C98, it has the pattern on the 4 hour, and it's forming it on the 15-minute right now. That is why I was saying earlier, I'm looking for a long on this one. And I showed you that flip zone, and I showed that stuff earlier. I'll try to get this recording up on YouTube tonight, but I don't think I'll have it on in time, and I might miss this trade. I don't care, but yeah. So it's a quickie look at it. If this was a shark fin here, because my alert brought it to my attention, and I was like, oh, the 4 hour also has the pattern, and the pattern's on the 15-minute. Now it's getting the shark fin. The shark fin, once it closes, then it has a crossover. I got my entry. So that's how you do that. You have to watch though, because if you select this side, if you want your 4 hour to be on one side, and then you click one, it's gonna add the 15-minute to this one. But then you got to click it back to 4 hour on the side you want that 4 hour on. But if I click this and this is highlighted, and then I click another one, it'll put the 15-minute here and keep the 4 hour. There, this one's got the pattern right here, but it's not, well, it's in bullish sentiment on the 4, but it's a little iffy because it hasn't had a bullish shark fin on the 4 hour. But if this crossover, I might have risked it, but no, it doesn't have the volume that I'm looking for. I do this and check a lot of factors, but you want something with volume. And so I'm just scroll through here. Sometimes I just close. This one's looking like it's going to take it's getting ready to prepare a setup. Maybe it's possible, but I would want to see this I would want to see this 4 hour RSI get ready to cross here, and I'd like to see the pattern on the 15 at the same time. So I just keep, here we go. This one, look, I just clicked it on random. TARS AI. It has, oh no, wait, that's the 15 over there. Somehow it got mixed up. It's not the pattern. Never mind. Hey, Mowgli. Welcome. So that's my quick way of scanning it. Oh, I had to see what I mean. If you have this one side clicked and you go to click a new one, you need to make sure this side, the side you're 15 minutes on. But once your other alert comes up and, you know, you just click it, I'm like, oh, okay, this one had a shark fin a few hours ago. Now it's getting ready to cross, which is normally an entry, but the 4 hours not really showing it, but it is having a climbing RSI. It could have a move. So that's how I do that, Pabs. I hope that helped a little bit to answer your question. So that's my process, how I find some, and how I sort them and add them to my watch list. And then I got this like a watch list alert, and I just kind of look through. But I actually go through these one by one, but I don't leave it, because I use a watch list alert. I don't turn it on until I'm looking for trades, because it's just going to fill up with. So I'm going to just clear this, because I already found what I want to trade. I want to trade C98 when this flip zone happens. But what I'm doing here, so like right now, it's clear. I'm not looking for trades because I'm already watching one. But this one, if I turn this alert back on, most likely it's going to start pushing stuff into my log any minute. So it'll start finding them, and then, because I could clear this out if I leave this on for like an hour or something, and then I come back and look at it, and I'll click through this list, and I'll see if it meets my criteria. Here's one that just popped up. So it has it's forming a bullish shark fin on the 15. Ooh, it has the pattern on the 4 hour. Looks good, but it needs to come up a little bit. This could be the point for it. We don't know, but at any rate, when I'm in the mood to trade, I can turn on my alerts, and then I see this. It's trying to form another one, but of course you're waiting for it to come back up here and cross. So this one might be worth watching for a little bit. I wouldn't say that for certain, but look at the 4 hour. It's in green money flow with a bullish shark fin. So yeah. So that's it. Alan, you wanted to come on. I'm sorry I took so long. I've explained everything I wanted to about the sine wave things and the Bitcoin situation. For you guys like Mowgli who joined late, or whoever else joins late, like Tom and DV040. I'm going to try to get the recording up later, because it was pretty good in the beginning, and hopefully this software works great. I think it's going to. All right, so are you ready, Alan? Do you still want to come on stage? Let's see. Because you raised your hand earlier, so I sent you an invite. And I'm going to mute myself for a minute and have a sip of water, and you can have at it. And I'll stop sharing my screen so you can share what you were talking about with when I was talking about EAX and what it was you were going to say. Is your mic not hooked up or something?
No, it's on. I'm just muted. I was doing something on the side. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. No, I don't really have anything in particular to say. There's just, I use SMCX for scalping a lot. I just kind of trade level to level if I'm trading. But I will say I've had some really good success, which I've shared with you on a couple of those continuation trades that were pretty epic.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I'm so glad to hear it. It is. It's a good strategy.
I think I sent it to you privately. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no pattern or no strategy that's 100% all the time, but it has a pretty high success rate. If you follow it according to the instructions, it works pretty well, I think. And I'm so glad to hear you had some success with it. And for people that are listening and not sure what he's talking about, it's that taking easy continuation trades with TDIX video that I put out on my YouTube channel a little while back. So that's the video he's talking about. He tried it and it worked for him. So it's on my YouTube channel, and if you want to check it out, guys, you can just click my name and like here, and then when you click it like on my username, it'll show you a link to my YouTube channel. But you're welcome to talk or anything, or if anybody else wants to join stage, because I've talked about everything I wanted to this time. I mean, I could cut it short as well, unless anybody wants to talk. DV040, check my YouTube channel, and there's a couple ways you can do that. So I'll send you a link right now, and when you click that link, it'll send it to like my channel here in Discord, and then ooh, I had a black screen for a minute. It'll go to my channel in Discord, and then there's videos in there too, and if you click one of those, it'll take you to my YouTube channel and you'll see it. And hey, send me a friend request if you can't figure it out. Click on me and send a friend request, and I can send you a private message and help you out. But if nobody wants to talk about anything or join stage, I might close it or stop the recording now, and I'll keep the live session going. But yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and stop the recording now, because I talked about the important parts that I wanted to get on, and it looks like my new recording software worked. So for you guys watching the recording, have a good day.